Okay, right, we're making a film about something that's really important, so you should all listen. It's about different generations of immigrants, and this all relates directly to us as well, because much of our parents were immigrants in the 60s or 70s. And if you all looked around, you'd have noticed that we have a lot of new immigrants. So what we want to do is compare the stories of these children immigrants to those of our parents who immigrated at a similar age.
So my idea was to, not to get married and help my dad in the business. We had a lot of publications, printing press. So naturally, but I had to get married. The reason, all girls have to get. So my mom, she was having, high blood pressures and all that. So I said, okay, I'll get married, but it's only depending on one thing. My husband will be a good singer. I want singer in the family. I don't want businessmen. I don't want to get married in England. I don't want nobody from England. But, this is what I call destiny. So whatever you avoid, it comes to you. So I got married. My husband was a businessman, and he was in England. I came in 71. 71, yeah.
How did it feel to come and see all these these rows of houses?
I felt as if I was in a jail, because I was used to living in open and wildlife, going around, picking up my bike and just going to meet my friends and stuff like that. But here when I came, nobody was friendly, and everybody was busy in their own.
Were there a lot of other Indians already here?
No,
Quite lonely then.
I was very lonely. But then again, one thing I said, to forget, I'll go and find a job and work here. And my husband said, no, you don't have to work because we had a restaurant. But then I convinced him. I wanted to be with my people so that, I can help them, first thing. That, there were so many people here, they needed help because of the language barrier and all that. And, they couldn't even read and write. And so I was also teaching ESOL, to them. And I used to encourage all the women, come out, learn. So that if you learn, then, you have no problem. Because they used to come to me, oh, my son, my daughter, she doesn't listen to me. I got this letter, I have to, do query this and that. Can you come and phone for... Then I say, why don't you learn so that you can do your own stuff,
Well, I would say, if you go to India now, it's really changed. It's like totally...
So India's changed as well?
Yeah, it's really changed. Because when I got married, we didn't have any mobile phones. We didn't know what mobile phones are. And nowadays, when you go back, the servants are carrying their top-grade mobile phones. You have to contact them with a phone and, can you come at this time or something? So it's really has advanced. I mean, it was shocking whenever we go, nowadays back, and we have to buy certain things, food-wise or clothes. They're so expensive, And I mean, we feel more traditional being here when we go back. It's people are becoming more traditional in this country when they come, and they try to become more as I say, traditional. But when you go back there, it's totally different, and it's
They
changed.
laugh at us for being
Yeah, they have seen all the new British movies, from here before us.
Do you think the culture that you were brought up with, do you think it's sort of being lost with, say, our generation or, your children's generation?
We are also gaining from the younger, the younger kids, we are getting something, the new, which is we are adding, it's like a new flavor to the recipe. So you're adding stuff, with my experience, I'm adding my children's experience. not only that, my grandchildren's experience, which is making more flavor. Culture is not something that, is rigid. But you can change, you can change the styles. The culture is still there, but you can add some new colors into it.
All of our friends at school, it's kind of going out, having boyfriends, and then, we've been brought up in that, but then our parents, who are still in the mindset of, say, 70s India, they have a completely different view on it, and that's just wrong, and it's just wrong. I mean, you're not going to go out, you're not going to have a boyfriend, and then that's just it. But then we're just, you can imagine how confused we could get.
My daughter's getting married to a Sikh boy. So she need to, I tell her that, you should, you need to know their culture as well. Their way of living is different than ours. But Nima has to, because she'll be going to that house, so she has to learn those things. Not that about, the faith, because nowadays children, the youngsters are not into the faith. Faith is not that important. That is not the issue. The faith is, understanding is more important.
While I was there in India as well, I was like cultural secretary of my university there, So I was always involved in like dance, music and drama and things like that. And where we come from, a place called Orissa, we have like a Orissa society here. We used to do some Bharatanatyam classes here as well. I love dancing and music and things. So my younger daughter, the second one, not this one, is still carrying on and she's still learning as well.
And then that was my great ambition to have, the dance school.
Nobody else would have been.
Yeah, but that, because it was too much of racism then. No? The Asian culture thing was not very popular. People were not doing, they were just busy going to work and doing the stuff, There was no any entertainment, anything like. But I'm glad, when I came to Derby, I started doing things. I started my own class, in Indian Community Center. And then, I had, about 30, 40 children there.
I mean, say you still try to keep your own culture and religion and things like that. Whatever you can, I suppose. Like you won't find temples everywhere in the street here as you will find like in India. But as I say, like we have got a small community of Hindu people in Derby. So you just take your children whenever you can and you go there whenever you can.
Even in my dance class, there are about 4 or 5 Muslim girls, and majority of the Sikh girls, and they want to learn, which is good. It's very colorful class.
Yeah, so it's a big change from when you first came here, when no one was really interested.
Yeah. But now people are interested. Yeah. So which is good. That's the change. Because the younger generation is doing what they want to do.
The cultures of the new immigrants from Eastern Europe, do you think their cultures will become as integrated as the Asian immigrants?
I'm not really sure, whether they must be doing, because there is a Polish community here, and all different. They must be doing their own things, festivals and on Polish dancing and things like that. Sometimes, people do organize certain events.
So, my name is Eva Dubravska. I work as a bilingual teaching assistant for Derby City Council, and I came here 3 years ago, and I work specifically with Eastern European children from 11 to 19 years old, and we have quite a lot of them. They love music, so we do a lot of music and dancing with them, and there are always little problems there. But yeah, I work as a teaching assistant, so we are working on it. and it's improving a lot, and the attendance and the result, academic results are improving very much. And well, I think they're settling. They're doing great when you think about it. There are children who came from a different country and they have to learn a new language, and there's so many barriers for them, but I think they are doing great. Well.
V začátku jsem chtěl jít co nejdřív domů, nebavil mi tady, bál jsem se a pomalinku jsem si zvykal.
No, lebo tu prišiel brat pracovat, tak jsme přišli k němu.
Se zdá, že to nejsou rasy, to jsou jenom chlupáci, mladí kluci, všechny rasy, že vidějí, tak se chtějí nést prát a vědí, že si můžou dovolit nás, no.
Tu, no, učila vím ďalej.
Kde jsem. A tak zůstal bych asi tady.
A co bych chtěl dělat?
Já naučit se anglicky, pracovat, ale ne takhle někde pracovat, třeba být manažerem, něco takového.
Kde?
Být manažerem, něco takového, ženu, děti a...
Aha.
Ale
Chodím jako vysněná práce, cokoliv.
no, tak já jsem učený kuchař čašník.
Rozhodně nám to pomáhá úplně, že tak venku není co dělat a když tam stojíme hodinku, 2 hodinky, tak už se nás někdo pouští a tohle to nám pomáhá. Aspoň 2-3 hodinky, že můžeme být pohromadě a nemusíme se bát.
Nevím anglicky, až tak, a keď nevím člověk anglicky, tak práce se těžko hledá.
Vůbec, nijak. Začali učit to, co se oni učili třeba už, no, ty Angličani třeba, tak to mě učili to, co se učili oni. Začali číst a taky, oni mě měli učit od počátku, od prvního, abych se to mohl naučit, ale oni hned začali s těžkýma věcma na mě. Takže jsem se vůbec nic naučil.
We are potentially getting into lots of trouble here because some of those schools, they are not ready for these children, and some schools they've got hundreds of them, and they don't know what to do. They've got a huge group of children, they don't understand them, the children doesn't want to learn English because they are in their own group, they don't need to. And well, if we don't do our job properly, and I teach them English every day. If I don't do it properly and my colleagues don't do it properly, in 10 years we can end up with a huge group of people who won't get a job. I work for a team, it's called Roma New Arrival Support Team, and the team started with one bilingual teaching assistant. That there were 2, another 2 came, and now we've got like 10 people there. So it's in a scale of 3 years, there was a huge change, but still 10 teaching assistants and 600 children. Well, still you can see that there's a problem, not enough support for them. Well, as I said, some of them, they will pick up English without problem, like that. But, not everybody can do it.